Good morning. It's June 17th, 2024. Halifax, Nova Scotia. Welcome back to the channel. Just a quick reminder to like, subscribe. A few hours before I'm supposed to start my shift on the job, I'm just gonna do some Uber Eats. So in recent times, and this has actually been a long time now. Maybe since around December of last year, because around January, it is pretty normal for Uber Eats to be less busy and for the orders coming in to be pretty crappy, requiring you to drive for a long period of time for very little money. Ideally, most people would want to get a dollar per kilometer or more, but sometimes you're getting orders requiring you to drive as many as, this is on the extreme end, but this does happen sometimes. Some orders may be requiring you to drive 25 kilometers for $5, and of course we're not going to take those, but more often than not, you're getting orders requiring you to drive 8 kilometers, 8 kilometers for something like $15, doing two pickups, things like that. So yeah, on a whole, it's just been kind of crappy. So yeah, I'm just gonna kind of in real time show you the offers that are coming in on my screen, if any. Because right now, people who know Halifax can, if you're looking at my map, you'll see I'm in the Bedford area right now. I'm at the Peak View, parked at the Tim Hortons. There's a McDonald's close to me, and a few other restaurants. There's an A&W a little bit across the street there here in Halifax. So sorry, my phone is pretty busy, so with other things, because my phone is not really meant for content, as you can see from my channel. If anybody ends up watching these videos, it is pretty new, so I've not dedicated my phone to making content at this time. So I'm kind of trying to walk and chew gum at the same time. So what I kind of do on most mornings is I would park somewhere for like 10 minutes, and if I don't get an offer, then I'll move to somewhere else. So if I don't get an offer in like 10 minutes, I'll move across the street over to A&W. So A&W is, let me zoom in. So there's McDonald's right there, and I'm parked right by Tim Hortons, which is the one that says 40. McDonald's is right there. So if I don't get an offer in like 10 minutes, I'll move over to here. That doesn't do anything, right? But yeah, so you go in a couple roundabouts, and you'll go right here, and there's going to be an A&W somewhere right there. The map doesn't show it, but yeah, there's one right there. And if nothing happens, then on normal mornings, right, when I'm working, like, well, sorry, on mornings when I'm working all day, so mornings like on my day off, I would pretty much just go downtown. But because I live in the Bedford area of Halifax, I don't really go very far unless an order takes me very far. Because moving around is just kind of wasting gas. So even though I do, unfortunately, I think probably unnecessarily sometimes might move from one place to the next for a short drive. I'm kind of not taking my advice there, but I am not wasting much gas by moving from here 1 kilometer over to A&W. So that kind of time gas wasting I can tolerate sometimes. So That's what you'll find with me, guys. I'll tell you what to do, but I won't necessarily follow my own advice all the time. All right. So yep. So we've been waiting now for a few minutes. Still no orders, but let's see. Let's see. And when an offer comes through, it's probably gonna be crap. Yeah. So yeah. So Uber Eats in Halifax, it's not so great right now. But as you can see from I'm gonna show you my recent activity. Oh no, hold on. From my recent activity, money wise, I am still managing to squeeze out a little bit of an income here. So last week was an especially good week. Mainly because so starting with last week, and then I'll go back to the previous weeks and kind of explain to you why those numbers are what they are. So I have two cars, a 2013 and a 2014. So the 2013 is the one I'm driving right now. The reason that piece of information is relevant is because when I'm driving the 2013, I cannot carry Uber passengers. I can only do Uber deliveries. The reason I'm not driving the 2014 is because today my wife, look at this, not bad, McDonald's. So let's go pick that up. Yep, so that's a good order for a change. So yeah, let's go pick up that McDonald's order, and then I'll be right back with you. All right, so we're back after completing that trip. I didn't time it, but I think it took me like around 10-12 minutes. But yeah, all in all, sorry, so I'm in this section right here. So I'm close to the Bedford Highway, for people familiar with Halifax, in the Bedford area. So down here you have a few restaurants, Harvest. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to go over there. I don't think that area is the best. You have an Indian restaurant there as well, but some of those restaurants are not open in the morning. They are more like nighttime restaurants. So I'm going to kind of go back to the McDonald's and the Tim Hortons area, because those and the A&W, because those restaurants are a bit busier in the morning. Those are like breakfast restaurants. Yep. So still driving on my way back to the busy area. Sometimes, of course, you're gonna get an order randomly on your way there. But yeah, I'm sitting in a bit of traffic because there's some construction over by Ocean View Drive. So sitting in the traffic waiting for my time. Yeah, I think I was talking earlier about why I'm not picking up passengers this morning, and as I was mentioning that I had a 2013 car, and a 11-year-old car cannot be used to carry passengers on Uber. So the only time I can pick up passengers is when I'm driving the 2014, which is 10 years old. As you can see there, that car is not going to be good. I think it's going to be aged out around March of next year. So I'm going to need to buy a different car by then. I'm going to talk about cars, just financially speaking in general, in a future video. But I don't like to drag out things, so I can tell you that when it comes to cars, I don't really believe in spending a lot of money on cars. And doing Uber, I mean, if making money depended on me driving a nice car, then of course I would just buy a nice car, right? But there's not really a lot of benefit to buy a new car to drive Uber, because you're gonna lose a lot of money on depreciation on a new car and things of that nature. But I am seriously considering a new car this time around, because the kind of car I want is not available in older models. I'm looking for a plug-in hybrid made by my preferred brands, Toyota or Honda. And Toyota and Honda, they have hybrids going back very far. My sweet spot to buy a car is around 8 years old, and I'm pretty sure by 2025 I could get a 2017 hybrid. But is it gonna be exactly what I'm looking for, a plug-in hybrid? I'm not so sure, so I might have to buy a newer car, like a 2020 or a 2019, 2021, to get exactly what I'm looking for. Because I was speaking to a passenger recently who, I didn't realize this. I thought he would have needed like a special charger setup for those kinds of cars, but she tells me no, you just need a regular outlet, and a Prius would be charged within fully charged within 6 hours, and that would give you around 50 kilometers, she says. And I'm like, yeah, that's good. I mean, that's not going to take me far when I'm doing Uber Eats, but it will save over a full week, over a full year. I'm spending around close to $8,000 on gas. I'm pretty sure that, combined with the fact that this car generally just burns significantly less gas, could result in me saving up to $4,000 or more on gas in a year. And if I can save $4,000 on gas in a year because I do Uber, then it might make sense to buy a newer car. But we'll see. But anyway, I keep going off on tangents. I'm driving the 2013 car, so I can't do care passengers right now. And I'm all the way back to the buttons. Oh, and they sent me an order, and I mean, just like the other one, this is not so great. It's a little bit over $1 per kilometer, which is pretty decent. So I'm going to take. Yep. So not sure if you guys were here what I was saying there, but yeah, that's not a bad order. It's not that great either. It's a little bit over $1 per kilometer. I had intended to title this video Uber is crap in Halifax at the moment, but it's not so crappy right now, so I'm not going to be able to give it that title. Alright. Anyway, yeah. So I do prefer carrying passengers. Sometimes, I mean, carrying passengers is not as busy. But over the weekend, carrying passengers was really good, which is what resulted in me having a really good week last week. Going back to what we did last week. Let's see here. Yeah. So it's been a while. I haven't had a week over $1,000 since last year around December. So it's kind of because I just actually started carrying passengers. I didn't carry passengers until around 3 weeks ago. Oh, actually about a month now. I only used to do food deliveries because I didn't like the idea of having people in my car, but because Uber Eats was not going so well around this time when I did it, it was these weeks, and I just saw a lot of crappy orders coming in. And this kind of money, like $600 back in May here, is not so bad, But because it was starting to get warm, it's kind of counterintuitive. You would think that when it starts to get warm, it would more people would start to go to restaurants and they would stop ordering Uber Eats. But it's actually the opposite. When it starts to get warm, you get more orders. I couldn't figure out exactly why in the past, but I know exactly why now. In the winter months, it what would happen is every winter I noticed that I would hardly get any orders. It would be very crappy, and then summers would be good. And I'm saying it should be the opposite. That's what I would have thought. I would have thought, summertime people go out. They shouldn't be staying in order food. Wintertime people should be staying in and ordering food. But what I'm realizing, after trying to do Turo last year, where I bought a couple of cars and I was renting them on Turo, that didn't go so well. I'm gonna do a full video about exactly how much money I lost there. Um, but what I realized is a lot of people come to Halifax in the warm months between like May to September, October, especially in the summer, between June and August. So the population of Halifax is just generally bigger in the warmer months than in the winter months. So that is why you get more orders over that time. So yeah, so when I saw May come in and it wasn't really improving, because I kind of expect this in the winter. I expect to be making this kind of money in March, 600, 500. Oh, I had a few 700 months in February and January. Oh, I lied. I had a $1,000 month in January. But I think yeah, so I had $1,000 week in January. Didn't know that. December last year. So those are the good times. December, um, October was pretty good. So as you can see, when it gets closer, in May, I was thinking it should have been picking up. It should have been getting good, right? But it was not really getting good. So I decided I wanted to start carrying passengers, and yeah, carrying passengers last week, I had a good week. But it's mostly because when I'm carrying passengers, I can actually work longer, because when you've been doing food deliveries as long as I have, about 3 years now, and I've been doing it so consistently and for so many hours, 40, 50 hours sometimes per week, you start to get a bit of fatigue. And when I'm doing food delivery, sometimes I get lazy. But when I carry passengers, I'm pretty much not lazy, and I'm able to work a bit later sometimes. Sometimes I'm able to just sleep in the day, work in the night kind of thing. And it worked out much better doing that. So yeah, so carrying passengers have been good. I'm gonna start mostly carrying passengers at some point, but on mornings like this, when my wife is driving the other car, the 2014 car, because she doesn't like driving this car, 2013 car. So she goes into office on a Monday and a Tuesday. So on a Monday and Tuesday, I will not be um, carrying passengers in the morning. In the evenings after work, maybe, but not in the morning, because she's gonna have the car in the morning. So that's why I'm driving right now. All right, so I've been waiting in the parking lot. The food should be ready by now, so let me go get it. All right, so we're back, done with a delivery. So I'm now by Gary Martin. Was a drop off. So I'm gonna drive back around to my previous location around here. Yep, so that's where we are. All right, so back in the car, and I'm driving back to Peakview. All right, so I only have about not much longer out before I need to go to work. Yeah. So where was I before I got that order? Yeah, I was saying I'm gonna start doing more Carrying of passengers, because I've just kind of gotten a bit lazy. Carrying passengers, I've not really found it to be significantly better money wise per hour, but it does allow me to work longer. And in all honesty, sometimes when I'm doing Uber deliveries, if the order, sometimes the order could be profitable, but if it's not profitable enough, I might just decide not to go pick it up sometimes. You know, sometimes you might get an order for $5, you drive 3 kilometers, and that order is profitable. It's more than $1 per kilometer. It's not the greatest order, right? And in Halifax, so a lot of people might be listening to this. A lot of people who drive Uber might be listening to this, and they would say, "But that's not a great order. You shouldn't be taking that anyway." In my experience, when it gets really slow, especially in the wintertime, if you don't take that kind of order, you're going to end up not making much money by the end of the week. Because I've done it both ways. I've done it the way where I super cherry pick, where I only take really good orders. I've also done it the way where I go the other extreme. I pretty much take every order. But I found that finding a happy medium where you kind of go based on the environment. If you're in the fast period, then you can be more selective. But you're in a slow period, you're gonna have to take a lot more things that you wouldn't take otherwise. You still have to have standards. So for example, if I get a $4 order, a $5 order, I'm gonna zoom in to ensure that I'm not delivering to an apartment building. Because if you're gonna have to deliver to an apartment building, go upstairs, go downstairs, that's gonna take you another 5 minutes. Probably not gonna be worth it. Because you're going to be wasting a bit of time after you already deliver the order. So when I'm getting really cheap orders, I zoom in to ensure that I'm actually delivering to a house where I can get out of the car, leaving at the doorstep more than likely, or meet them at the door, and it's all done. When I'm getting the cheap orders, I also look at the restaurant as well. If it's a restaurant where I'm going to have to walk, for example, all the way inside a mall, then go into the food court, then I'm not going to do that for 3, 4, 5 hours. For 4 or 5 hours. I'm going to do that where it's a restaurant, it's a parking lot, I can just walk right in. So yeah, there are ways for you to be selective. If you have really hard and fast rules that you don't kind of adapt to different environments, you're gonna end up with no money sometimes. And I have to make a living in the winter and the summer, so that's how I've kind of done it. But I won't have to kind of make those decisions as much anymore because I'm now carrying passengers. And when you're carrying passengers in Halifax, the payout is fine. I mean, you get roughly close to $1 per mile, or sometimes more, sometimes a little bit less for longer trips. But carrying passengers in Halifax is really slow. So what I'm gonna be doing is, when I'm working all day on my days off, I'm gonna be doing Uber deliveries in the daytime, and then I'm gonna carry passengers in the nighttime. And I'm gonna start working a bit later. That way I can, because when you're carrying passengers like 11 p.m. to like 3 a.m., that kind of time is busier for carrying passengers. There are more people who are going to bars, and I know people don't like to carry people who have been drinking, but that's where the money is. And I've not really had much problem with drunk passengers. They're drunk, they're fine. I treat them nice, they treat me nice so far. I mean, I don't have a lot of experience with this just yet, but we'll see as I go along how I adapt my carrying of passengers. The other problem I'm having with carrying passengers is because I'm new. I only have 86 rides so far carrying passengers. So I don't know if at some point they're gonna start showing me the details, like where I'm going, where the pickup is, where the drop off is, before I take the order. But as of right now, I'm still not getting that. All right, so I've now driven all the way back to Peakview. I'm gonna go over to the A&W and park there. And as you can see, even carrying doing deliveries is kind of slow. That's why I kind of wanted to do this in real time. So that's why this video is a bit longer than it would have been otherwise, because I wanted you to see in real time, after I drop off the order, how long I take to get another one. Like in a really busy time, as soon as I drop off the order, I'm driving all the way back to A&W. I would have gotten an order before I got back here. At least I would have gotten a crappy offer and I would have declined it. I haven't even had the chance to decline a crappy order. So that's how slow it is. But we'll see. The thing about A&W is they're on Uber anyway. This is the only A&W where you're able to order from Uber in the Halifax side. There's a A&W downtown in the Halifax shopping center, but I think with that one you can't order from Uber. You might have to order from Skip. There's also an A&W out by Chain Lake Drive, and that one you also cannot order from Uber. You can only order from Skip Dishes. So this is the when you order from when I pick up orders from this one, it's typically a long drive because it's normally somebody who is ordering from pretty far. There's also another A&W over by in the Bedford area as well, over by, let me see if I can find it here, down the highway. Yeah, Hammond's Plains, over by about here. There's an A&W here, and that's about 3 kilometers from where I am. But that one you can't order from Uber. I think you can only order from like DoorDash and Skip. But I'm not on DoorDash, and I don't have a Skip Dishes shift at the moment, and Skip Dishes hardly ever give me any shifts. Let's see here while I'm waiting for the order, because I want you to see in real time. That's why this video is very long, how long it takes me to get an order. So I'm just gonna talk and showing you other things while I wait for an order. So I suppose I can still say that Uber is kind of crap, but maybe I'll change it from Uber is crap to Uber is slow. So Skip Dishes, I have an order today, 6:45 p.m. So as soon as I'm done with work, I'm gonna start that one. And Skip Dishes is pretty good when you get a shift. People tend to tip better. I don't know if it's the tips or what, but yeah. And I have one on Sunday as well. Earnings on Skip. Yeah, I've not had when I'm doing a Skip, I don't really get a lot of orders. But when you do get an order, it tends to be a pretty good order. So let's see. Last week, what did I do at Skip? $33 all of last week. And because anytime I'm doing Skip, I'm always doing Uber as well. So because I'm doing both at the same time, I'm gonna end up getting a good Uber order sometimes. And so for example, this shift I did on Wednesday, I did one order. That's what I like about Skip. They pay you well for the delivery plus the tip. Uber pretty much it doesn't matter how long it is for the delivery. They're only really paying you $3, and it's all up to the customer to tip you the rest. So as you can see here, I did 2 deliveries and both of them are saying $3 each. But as you saw for yourself, one was actually going to be $6 and one was going to be $8 and some cents. So you can tell there's going to be a $3 tip here to make that $6. And there's going to be like a $5 and something tip here to make that a bit over $8. But it takes like an hour before you see it. Looking at individual things, this is what I did yesterday. So last night, yesterday I didn't work all day. I started working around 6 p.m. Actually, I had one trip before, so I had one trip in the day around 2:30, and I went back home, chilled with the family for a bit, all day, and then I started working after 6 p.m. So 6 p.m. I got this one, 14 minutes, $9, not bad. So yeah, when you do get trips on Uber X, like carrying passengers, is pretty good. I got this one to the airport, 33 minutes, $34, pretty good. That included a tip, of course. Then I got this monster when I was at the airport. So one thing I did not realize is that because when I fly into Halifax airport, back in like 2020, when I just got here 2021, we were told that you were not able to book an Uber from the airport. You can only book Uber from the city into the airport, but not from the airport itself. I think yeah, so that's what I thought. But I didn't realize that they changed it so that if you're at the airport as a driver, you can pick up trips there. So I got this monster. So as you can see there, it has like a $63 surge. So Uber charges customer through their nose, and they gave me a little part of it. So yeah, I got that. So $41. So pretty much from this time period, 6:49 to 7:28, I made like what's that? $115, $116 in a little bit over an hour. So that was a good hour. That's probably the best hour I've had in a long time. I mean, you've had some aberrations, right, in the past where you're delivering Uber. This hasn't happened since like 2021 when I was on a bicycle at that time. So when I just started Uber in Halifax, I was actually riding an electronic bicycle. And I remember there was a day where they were giving like an additional $15 on every order. That was crazy. I think that time I made like $400 in a day. That's like probably the most I've ever made on Uber in a day. Anyway, everything went back to normal. I made these, as you can see here, you can make a significant amount of money in a little bit of time. The problem is the orders, the offers are very slow. So that's what I got. I worked until about 12:30. So 6 p.m. to 12:30 plus one trip earlier in the day. So yesterday, let me see if I can isolate yesterday, so you can see how much I made because as I was telling you earlier, if you're working in the evening hours, you're probably gonna have a better time driving passengers um, than in the morning hours. Daytime hours carrying passengers, very, very slow. Nighttime is also slow. You probably have to wait 15, 20, 30 minutes sometimes for a passenger. But because the pay per order is not that bad, it turns out not so bad. So yesterday, I made 196 in 9 hours. Well, a lot of the time I was online, right? But I wasn't actually doing anything. So the reality is, in the daytime, I actually worked like half an hour. And then I worked from 6 p.m. around 6 p.m. to 12:30 p.m. So that was around 6.5 hours. So if I'm to be honest, I actually worked about 7 hours yesterday. So 7 hours, $196. Because of that big that's big surge, $72, you're not gonna get that very often. So you can't count on that. But still, because of that, it worked out pretty good. That was approaching around $27, $28 per hour. So that was pretty good yesterday. Saturday was pretty good as well. As you can see, it's saying I was working 18 hours, but in reality, what I do sometimes is that I'm at home, and while I'm chilling with the family, I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting to see if I get like a monster order. If I don't get a monster order, I don't leave my house. So you can't really look at the 18 hours because I didn't really work that long. So in the daytime on Saturday, I was chilling with the family. I wasn't really doing any orders, but in reality, I worked like a little more than 8 hours. I was actually available for trips. The active hours is the hours you're actually driving, so you can't count that either. So both of these times are kind of deceptive. The online hours is deceptive. The active hours are deceptive. So if I'm to really look at it, on Saturday I worked around 12 hours. 12 to 13 hours in actuality. Because sometimes I'm not necessarily, they only count the drive time in active hours, but sometimes sometimes I'm not at my house. I'm actually, just like I'm doing right now, I'm waiting at the restaurant and I'm not getting any orders, right? So in that situation, you kind of have to count those times as active. The ones I don't, sorry, I would count those as hours that I'm working. The hours that I don't count are the hours where I'm at home with the family, I'm at home sleeping, but I just have it online to see if I get a monster order. Yeah. Anyway, so Saturday, what did I do? And sorry this video is so long, guys, but I kind of just wanted to show you how slow it is here in Halifax carrying passengers. And it's the summertime now, so there are tourists here. It's a busy season. It's gonna get busier when school is out, but and then more families come from other places to Halifax, because Halifax is kind of a tourist city. So, well, Nova Scotia in general. So, yeah. Let's take a look to see what we did here. So it's pretty slow. I guess I was not. I thought I was gonna not change. Say that Halifax is scrapping for Uber, but I'm gonna be able to name it that because it's reverted to the mean. Because yeah, this is what I face. Sometimes I would get a lot more crappy orders and I'm just sitting here not taking any of them, but no, I'm not getting any orders at all. So yeah, I don't know which is worse. All right, so let's go back to Saturday. Since I'm waiting for an order, I don't have anything better to do. Let me move this car out of the sun. All right, so I just kind of moved the car out of the sun a little bit. All right, so let's take a look at what I did on Saturday. Going to the morning hours, actually. So on Saturday, I was doing deliveries in the day, as I told you. So okay, so Saturday. Oh, I'm back to Friday. Okay, let me start with Saturday. Okay, yeah, so Saturday, it started here. I started really early on Saturday around 6 a.m. And I got these 2 orders in the morning. Oh, all right. And I got this at 9. And then I didn't do anything else until around 12, 1, 2. All right, and then I started back at 7. So during the daytime, as I told you, I was kind of cherry picking. So as you can see, it's only really big orders or short orders that I got. I was mostly chilling at home on Saturday. Not doing much. Then in the nighttime, I came back out, I did this one, and then I started to do Uber X. I started to just only carry passengers. And I think Saturday night, if I remember correctly, I got more tips than normal. Normally, you get tips mostly doing deliveries. You don't really get tips carrying passengers, but I did get a few trips with tips. And I got these. As you can tell, when you do get a trip, it doesn't take you long to complete it. But you do get a lot of money per minute. But you have to kind of count not only the money you're making per minute, but you also, while you're active, but you also have to look at the amount of money per minute or the amount of money per hour while you are parked waiting for a drive. As I mentioned, I don't count the one when I'm at home and just chilling with the family. but I do count sitting not getting anything. Yep, so I worked really late actually that night, Saturday night. So that's why I didn't start working on Uber Sunday until kind of late. So that's what I'm doing with passengers. I'm kind of working mostly at night, and then I don't work so much in the daytime, because nighttime is better for carrying passengers. In the daytime it's really slow. As slow as you see it right now, for me to get a delivery, it can be that slow or worse carrying passengers. So yeah, Uber really is slow here in Halifax, both for deliveries and for carrying passengers. But so one way or the other, I do find a way to make some money. So if you're working 40 hours, you make $600, right? Which probably is going to be my average week. If things continue the way they are, that's like $15 per hour minus expenses. That's not very good. That's probably below minimum wage. But I still do it because you can do it whenever you want, and I can chill at home, wait and cherry pick and wait for an order, right? There's no boss over my shoulder. So I prefer to do this as a part-time job as opposed to working at McDonald's or something like that. But it's really not that great. But I can't knock it too hard because I'm still doing it, right? So yeah, I think I started this video around 8:30 thereabout, and it's now 9:45, and I've only gotten 2 orders. I've now been waiting probably close to 25 minutes, half an hour for an order. I've been talking with you guys in the meantime, but this is real time what I'm dealing with, guys. It's not great. You get to chill and relax in your car. Normally I'll just be watching YouTube videos waiting for the other order. Instead I'm doing a video instead, but yeah, not very good at all. So I think I'm going to end the video here, because I think this kind of makes my point.